Basically, I was on a spiritual path. I was searching. I was brought up a Catholic. I wasn't interested in Catholicism whatsoever, and I'd gone to the United Kingdom to live, and I was living in out of London, and I was working as a nurse. I was a registered nurse, and I was working there, and life was very hard. You know, it's very difficult to work, very busy, and not many staff. I mean, it's the same story the world over. And I met another person, and she was going up to Findhorn Foundation, so it's a community in Scotland. Used to work in the garden. I did a couple of courses there, and I was working in the garden, and I love working in the garden. At the end of my year living there, and I was planning to stay on for another 2 years, there was a retreat, and it was called the River of My Soul, and it was a Buddhist retreat, and a person by the name of Paul Seto led the retreat. He was the manager of Jamyang Centre at that time. So of course that's FBMT, so there was a connection already with FBMT. I think it was a week's course. And 3 days into the retreat, I'd read it, you know, so like I devoured a couple of books, you know, the Dharma books, and I want to be a nun. So, you know, I mean, people say the karma ripened. So my instant wish, you know, wholehearted wish to become a nun just arose during that retreat. I came back to Australia, and I lived in Brisbane, and I came up here and met the Dharma. I think I attended a teaching by Venerable Paylon, and very inspirational. I met a friend on the train. You know, I didn't know her, but you know, we met each other on the train coming up here, and that was really nice. And we're friends to this day. That year I went to Copan to attend the Copan course in November. And so I asked him, please, can I take ordination as a nun? And actually sitting in line around Rinpoche, so there was like a half circle, and Rinpoche was sitting at the front. And Diane had asked Rinpoche if she could get ordained, so she was the first person to put forward a question. And he said, I think you should wait. It's like I'm sitting there and going, I can't wait, you know, like in my mind, it's like, I can't wait, I can't wait 4 or 5 years to become ordained. Please, Rinpoche, you know, it's like, so the question came to me, and then I asked the question, and I actually got a yes, you know, I could take ordination, so I didn't have to wait 4 or 5 years, but that fear arose in my mind. It's like, oh my, I can't wait 4 or 5 years. So he said I could either get ordained with him, with Rinpoche in Bodh because after Copan, they do a bit of a pilgrimage onto Bodh Gaya Stupa, and stay at Root Institute and that. And he said I could go then if my mother was happy for me to get ordained at that time, or I could go to India the next year, 2004, and get ordained with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I didn't choose the Bodh Gaya option because I needed to speak to my mother. You need to get permission to take ordination from your parents or your living parents. So I met the Dharma in 2003. And I got ordained in 2004. I wanted to be visible as a nun, you know, like that was what I wanted to do. And it wasn't something that fazed me about wearing robes in public or, you know, in the Western world. Yeah.